PWDs will have free access to free health services, even though that is being contended now because of some of the other issues. We'll be looking at that much later. Then, of course, lack of free mobility, that lack of access to mobility or transportation. Even when you have the financial empowerment or the economic empowerment, you know, to afford health services or other social services, when you are demobilized, when you cannot move around freely, when the transport system discriminates against you or is inaccessible, then of course you can't go there. And that's why a lot of our people lose their lives or even acquire further disabilities, because when they are sick, because persons with disabilities do fall sick, they get malaria, they are affected by malaria, tuberculosis, and so on. So when they fall ill and they are not mobilized, they are not mobile, they can't move, it means the situation aggravates and can also lead to death. Well, we talk about lack of inclusive houses, where you don't have accommodation, decent accommodation. During the beginning of our Power Partnership and Exchange program, one of the key activities we did was to visit some rural communities. And I remember the horror, you know, the terrible experience it was like doing some kind of hurdle. You know how you do a race, a 100 meters hurdle, and I have to be scaling hurdles, you know, one rock to the other to access a palace. You know, imagine if a person with disability, particularly a person on a wheelchair, were to live in that community. You understand? So I'm trying to make I'm trying to speak to my paper. I don't just want to read out the essay to you. I'm just trying to paint scenarios here. So, when we don't have accessible environment, including housing, disabilities aggravate and you're further limited. These are issues that take away 50% of our capacities or capabilities in every sphere of life. Then, of course, you are not also included in the policy making process. People just sit somewhere and draft policies on your behalf without asking you, how do you feel about this? How does it affect you? You have situations where people who are hearing impaired need the services of sign language interpreters, and the wrong persons are recommended. You know, you should ask those who will benefit from the service. Who do you think can do this to your understanding? You know, involve the beneficiaries in the process. Ask them. And it's not just about the academics. Sometimes, like you heard Mr. Olobi talk, he said he had to go to school because of his daughter. And he may not necessarily have done the PhD of special education, but he has the basic understanding. And because he is a beneficiary, he is more passionate, he does it with more attention, with more attentiveness, you know, compared to someone who just wants to make a living out of it. We have been living witnesses. I passed through a special school, Special School for the Blind. We know how some of the staff, particularly the non-teaching staff, are very good. My teacher is here, Mrs. Koya is here. Please, can you give her a good round of applause? And I can speak this Queen's English because she taught me. So thank you very much. Okay. But I have to say in her presence, and I'm sure she also knows it, that particularly the non-teaching staff, some of them could be very ruthless because they don't understand it. And worse still, they are not informed, about how to relate with persons with disabilities, and it cuts across all, the special formations. So it's different when you are just doing it to earn a living, but compared to when you are doing it to give service, where you are sacrificial, where you are, looking beyond your earnings. So when policymakers do, develop policies and they don't ask those who are to benefit, it always goes the wrong way most of the time. So these are some of the things that further limit disability. I put this first so that we will appreciate, where we are coming from, and then we can begin to visualize where we are really going to. Okay, then I move to the provisions of the special purpose law, the health provisions. Now we know where we are coming from. Now, I also want us to prepare our minds. Having heard where we are coming from, let us ask, by the time we finish this, by the time we listen to the provisions of the law, we will be able to tell whether or not these provisions actually address some of the problems I have highlighted earlier. So, and of course, some of the things we want to take away from this meeting, it will inform a review of this law. Fortunately, 2 days ago we were at a meeting with the Honorable Commissioner, also under this Power Partnership program. Susan was there, Treasureland was there, DPAI was there, and we were very privileged to meet with the Honorable Commissioner, the Permanent Secretary, and some other members of the ministry. And there are issues about some of the provisions of the law. And I can happily tell you that the ministry itself is forward-looking, because they are trying to develop a disability policy for the Ministry of Health. And just to address the last problem I talked about, which is not asking for including people with disabilities, they have said that they want our input into that document. Please, let's give them a round of applause, please. So whatever we are able to put forward here in our report will serve as input into that document. So it's an opportunity we have here in our hands. So we must make good use of it. So back to the law now. The first provision here says that government must, and they use the word must,